The topic is fueling the innovation, accessing finance and the investment for growth. So for our session, we have two speakers. So the first speaker is Dr. Emerald Safan. He is the founder and the president of Chor Aviation. Is Dr. Emerald Safan our first speaker here? Dr. Hardani, can you see our first presenter?
Yes, I've been in contact with Hamid. He will come now, and Mr. Imra is there.
Okay, great.
He's joining.
Okay,
I know. Hi, Professor Imra. He is one of the specialists in Innovation 360.
Yes, definitely. So he will be our first presenter, and our first presenter is Mr. Hamad Afton. He is the head of Inventors Affairs Organization at SACGC. SACGC is the Savant Hamad Center for the Giftedness and the Creativity.
I think, Sandy, if Mr. Imra starts, because Mr. Hamad, he needs a few minutes to join. Okay. I think Mr. Imra have already half an hour to presenting their topics. Go ahead.
Okay, let me share. Hello, Dr. Hamad. It's nice to see you. Let me just share my screen 1 minute. Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, we do. We can see your screen. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I'll be able to do one presentation today, but it might, it might take. So I know that we have two set up, but a quick introduction. I think we've been doing these presentations with Dr. Hanadi for a few years. It's AI, innovation, and so on. So today we have a more practical topic. Troynet is one of my companies, and we have a contract with Istanbul Airport for 10 years. This is digitizing, air cargo operations nationwide. So it's a very, very big project. And the platform has elements of AI, and of course, it's all about collaboration. So I will cover this topic today because we've been working on this for now 4 years. And, I think the main issue is change management when you talk about AI. So that may be surprising to everyone, but we will see through. I think this whole thing, started with, as you know, the logistics industry, cargo industry, unlike passenger industry, is very, very fragmented. You have many, many different players. You have freight forwarders, trucking companies, airlines, customs breakers. Everybody has got systems and everybody has got digital, but somehow in every country you see a lot of paper. So this is because although companies, they are digitized themselves, there is no platform that enables collaboration and digital flows between them. So it always turns to paper. And over the past 40 years, the lead time reduced from 6.1 days to 5.8 days. And for instance, lead time means if you are shipping an e-commerce from Hong Kong to New York, overall, it drops only from 6.1 to 5.8. But today, companies like Alibaba, companies like Amazon, they deliver 1 day within US, within China, 3 days worldwide. And companies like FedEx, they deliver within a day or two. because they have integrated operations. So this topic that we will discuss today is creating that across the industry. So it's a very important topic. But there are many challenges, because when you speak to companies, the first thing everybody says, we are already digitized, we have computers, we have lots of digitization, but they can't figure out why is that overall the industry working together, improvement is not very easy. And so I think these references we find very important in opening people's minds, okay? So I think then this started with a national level project. And I think one important finding is finding the common ground around burning platforms, around problems that people are experiencing, albeit this is point of exports at the airports, you know, the shipments, the trucking. So once different parties, they start talking about common problems, that's then becomes the glue, you know, where everyone starts talking the same language. And I think people start then appreciating it's not just my problems and my issues, but what's my impact to other parties down the stream. So we find that very, very important. And also you need to talk differently to ownership and the management, because if you're a freight forwarder, the fear you have, you'll be replaced by digital platform, AI, my job is going to go away, I'm jobless, okay? So first you need to tell them that these technologies are helping you, they are not there to replace you, okay? Second, show them they're going to make your life a lot easier. Today you have biometrics, you put your finger, you do all your banking in an instant, 100% secure, very easy, compared to a few years back. So imagine that, because if you are a freight forwarder, you are talking to 10 different airlines, 10 different trucking companies, you are coordinating everything, you are looking at 20 different screens. It's very stressful. So all that is getting, so that means when you are talking to the folks who will be directly using technology, first, it's not a threat to you. Second, it's going to make your life easy. But when you are talking to general directors and the ownership is different, you tell them you have an executive, he's handling 10 cases a day. With these tools, he or she going to handle 20, 30 cases a day. So with the same staff numbers, you can increase the volume of your business 200, 300 times. So that message they understand. So I think the second thing we find very useful is visualization, because people are afraid of platforms, AI, and so on. So when you start producing the sequence of what happens, so you show them, you know, you have a shipper, you are using your iPad, you are using your phone, and you are actually sending messages, and then it's all secure, it's blockchain, you have AI, and you take them through step by step. Don't talk about what happens in the algorithms and the platforms. Focus on their interactions. Through that, they will realize that their jobs are not changing. Their jobs are getting a lot more easier and more exciting. So they can spend more time thinking and less time boring document processing. So we found that very, very useful. Okay, so that's a good learning. The other one, of course, at some point you need to develop the entire model, and what you are looking at here is actually a summary of a national model. You have learnings from like working with 40 companies over 3-4 months. You have shipper, freight forwarder, shipping company, trucking company, warehouse. You have paper documents, and you have, you have soft documents. So people think if I have a PDF document and if I'm emailing to my colleagues, I'm digitized. No, you are not digitized. You are reprocessing PDF over and over again. So this is a misconception. But what's very important is two things. One, get the pain points agreement around with everyone. What is the pain point and what's the impact to everyone? Quantify and get agreement so people can see, you know, so many delays in ground handling, so many delays in airway bill preparation. And once we introduce an AI-powered platform, how much savings everybody is getting collectively. So this is very important. This is first very important point. Second pretty important point, when you prepare before and after, you see that the structure of workflow doesn't change a lot. It's almost same, very minor changes. So that gives people a lot of confidence and relaxation. They say, you know, my job is safe. Nothing much will change in execution. Instead of us calling each other, sending each other emails and chasing our tails, everything is running through smoothly in a collaboration platform. So these are like mental blocks when you are dealing with hundreds of people in a national scale change. So these things we find very useful. So these are some useful learnings. So, okay, I think then once we develop these learnings, then we've been approached by Istanbul Airport, which is the largest airport in Europe right now and best digital airport globally and best airport preferred by customers this year ahead of Changi, so in the world. So they are doing really well. So they said we want to implement this. We're interested in this. So we spent a couple of years, like we have three partners. One is Istanbul Airport, one us, another is our platform provider, Kale Logistics. They are the global leader in this field. So we've done like a couple of years, you know, due diligence. So as Troynet, we are the contracting executing party. So we do processes, change management, commercial, you know, the customer service management. And then our partners provide the technology. So then after signing the contract, which was in August 2023, we've done the same thing, but this time is much more precise with, again, another 25 companies from different disciplines, freight forwarders, airlines, ground handling companies, customs. And we developed very detailed process of imports and exports. This is when you print this, it's like 5 meters. It's very, very comprehensive, and it represents the consensus view, how things operates today and it should operate in future. And then from that, you know, the key issues that needs to be resolved in the entire value chain of imports and exports are identified in very precise terms. You don't need to solve every single thing. You need to solve maybe 10 things that's driving 90% of inefficiency. That's good enough, okay? So, and then those are identified. You see the summary of the, you know, improvements to future processes driven from the detail. Then, you know, the platform, of course, it has different uses. It provides advanced shipment information. You know, I used to run cargo airlines. So, you know, often the cargo shows up and there is no paperwork. You don't know what's in it, security problem, complete mess in terms of handling. So advanced shipment info and visibility is very important because then handlers, they see information that's coming. All payments are digitized. The trucks that are coming to the airport, there are slots. So the whole operation runs very smoothly. And what's very important in this kind of community projects is self-interest. At the end, everybody is interested in their own improvement. They want the whole system to improve. But what's important is, don't tell me the benefits to forwarders. I'm a ground handling company. Talk to me about benefits for me. So you need to be very precise in overall benefits and the benefits to each party. This is extremely important, okay? So we found that very, very useful. And then people starts appreciating the benefits comes through digitization and AI and collaboration. So it becomes a lot easier after that. The other thing we find is visualization. So people are visual, they want to experience it, they want to see it. So a lot of things that they will see once the platform is implemented, you need to show them before. Once this is implemented, this is how it's going to look like. This is how it's going to make your life easy. The drivers, you don't need to go around with paper in your pockets anymore. You don't need to receive phone calls. Everything is in your mobile phone. What time you are picking up the loads, where are you going, where are you dropping, and everything is coordinated at a platform level. And when the truck is approaching airport knows, everybody knows. It's a very streamlined operation. So then, of course, when you talk about community platform, first you need to build the community. So people need to agree that they're gonna operate in this platform. So people always worry about fear. There's a lot of fear. What if people find out my information? They're going to learn about my customers. They're going to contact my customers. So you need to differentiate between what information has to be common across players and what information is private. And you need to do legal contracts to give assurance to players that, you know, the legal, the private things will remain private. So then you start creating the community. It's workshops, it's coming together, people getting to know each other. So it's just like everything else, just like doing a project in a company, but in a much bigger scale. And you need to do a lot of, documentation, brochures, digital media to communicate. If 5% is technology, 95% is actually engagement with people. So I think where we are right now, it's been a journey. Now we are into 4th year overall. So you start with building awareness, 2 years due diligence contracting, 9 months develop the platform, training. Now we are integrating all different companies to the platform. And then it's going to be 10-year operation ahead, and maybe more. So this should really make a big contribution to the national efficiencies in logistics index, and ultimately help trade, imports and exports. So this is what we have on our presentation. If you have any questions, we can take them. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Hanadi.
Thank you, Dr. Emerald Stefan. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Professor Chen. Sorry.
Nice to meet you here. And thank you very much for introducing your business model, how you engage with your clients, okay, and introduce about your business operation. So I have a question here is that regarding the finance side, regarding accessing finance, what are the challenges you have experienced for your business regarding when you try to access the finance?
When you say finance, you mean financing this program?
Financing your business, like
Okay, I think, well, it's a good question. So honestly, I think to be able to do something like this, you need to have revenues from other businesses to fund something like this. So because it's all about investment, it's creating the platform, it's years of engaging with people, doing interfaces. So it's almost like you are designing a prototype, something very complex, but you are not doing it in a laboratory. You are talking in discussions with hundreds of people and dozens of different companies. So you need a lot of patience. So it's very difficult to do something like this if you don't have other revenue sources. So you need to be working with other clients, make money, and to fund this. And then, of course, once the usage becomes spread, because the users, let's just say if they are going to save $150 per transaction, there are millions of transactions. It's a very small percentage, then it becomes the platform user fee. But then that will then fund the future developments of the company. I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, definitely. And who are your clients? Like most of them, they are in Europe or in like what are the?
They are global, but clearly Istanbul Airport by definition it serves Turkey as a nation, so they will be concentrated across nationwide in Turkey. The freight forwarders, primarily ground handling companies, customs brokers. So these are the commercial side, airlines. But the main beneficiaries are freight forwarders, and freight forwarders are the entities, they orchestrate the import and export end to end. They are like program managers. They liaise with shippers, importers, exporters. They liaise with trucking companies, airlines, ground handling companies, customs, and they orchestrate the whole thing. They do all the paperwork, documents. So they are the main beneficiaries.
Thank you very much. We will have more discussion after our second presenter, and we will see if we have more questions from the audience later. Thank you, Dr. Emma.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Our second presenter is Mr. Hamad Efren. He is the head of Inventors Affairs Organization at SACGC.
Hello, everyone. It's clear? Is it clear?
Yes, Mr. Hammer, you can start your presentation.
Thank you. First of all, just thank you all for this opportunity. And I just would like to thank you, the people who's just finished ahead of me and the people who's coming for all the fruitful information that they are sharing. I think sharing information is the best thing anyone can do. As discussed with Dr. Hanadi, today I would like to share with you some of our journey and some of our experience in the point of view of the invention and inventor. Now I would like to share my screen. Is it shared? No. Okay, now I think it's. So, first of all, I am Hamad Al-Aftan, Head of Inventors Affairs at SACGC, Sabah Al-Ahmed Center for Giftedness and Creativity. This center is fully owned by KFAS, Kuwait Foundation of Advancement of Science, one of the biggest NGOs in the Kuwait and the area that are specialized in support the science. So we are part of the innovation and giftedness arm. I would like to share some some data and some scoops from our journey in patent innovation and what are the challenges that we face and how we change vice versa. As you can see that the center started accepting idea from 2010. During this journey, we registered 500 plus unique patents. Now we are talking about up to date. We have 530 patents. 90% mostly registered in the as you can see in the USPTO, and we can, as you can see, also we have in the European Patent Office and also GCC and others between China and Asia, all over the world, just to protect our innovations idea. If you can see here, also the demographic graph about the patent career as we started and how we gain our knowledge and how now it's coming till now. Invention classification we can see that medical and human necessity are dominating our patent categories. Now, during this journey, we face a lot of challenges, and just we want to be frankly speaking with ourselves to assess our work and to start again. So one of the challenges that we are facing, that time from patent to the market, it was too long. If we are speaking about 18 up to 30 months to grant the patent, then he will go to the development stage. It will take maybe from 3 months up to 2 years, depending on the prototype complexity, and then he will move to the commercialization stage, which is the market stage. Now, I think he wastes more than 4 years from idea to the market. And also how we determine the market and to check which market we shall register the idea, which market we shall focus on. And also we want something with low cost structure. So before we were going to register the patent non-provisional from the beginning, which is cost us a big amount of money, which is affect our sustainability. Also, challenges, it's very hard to understand the concept of patent for some people. Also, there is a problem with sometime making prototype, it can take a long time. So now we changed our structure. Before it was idea registration, then development, then commercial phase. So it was arranged timeline as a timeline. Now it was changed now. So this change also reflect to our training and our recruitment and everything. So now we have a section for ideation, helping people to trim their idea, to bring their idea, and implementation. We are helping people to implement their idea, and the market access. We would like to mind the bridge between the inventor and the market. So now our new journey, instead to go directly to the provisional patent. So now we are going to start with the provisional patent, which is, as you may know, that will cost less than 10% of the provision for the non-provisional. So then we can have 12 months for the inventor to work on his idea and to improve his idea regarding the technicality and financiality. So now we will start with first with the provisional patent. After he can approve his idea, and is it commercial feasible, we will go to the non-provisional patent. And also now we are focusing on the ideation program and also acceleration program. As you may know that we have a medical ideation program last June with the IE University. Next week we will have 2 weeks acceleration program in Silicon Valley with Mind the Bridge. So now we are focusing more on the people before applying for the patent. So now 100% of our registration idea is virtual. So now about the mechanism of registration, now we reached now 100% virtual registrations. That means that the inventor can apply the idea, he can write it, he can divide it, all by a website, by e-gate now, and this e-gate linked to the legal office so that you can make it faster and more effective and more convenient to the inventor. So I am here. I'm happy to answer any question or to have any comment. Please, thank you all, and I am here if you have any question.
Thank you very much for the presentation, and thank you very much for introducing your business. I saw you have a lot of like the patent. Can you give us some example for what type of the patent do you have? I saw like you have a lot of in the medical industry. Yeah, so can you just introduce more about?
I think thank you for this question. Actually, nice question, Professor Jane. I think the main focus area that we have is medical, and I think medical is well structured regarding patent and well structured markets. So we are proud to announce that we have now some effort with some of medical doctors in Kuwait to work on their commercial their idea and to have it approved by EU and FDA now. So I can't talk about it, but I can say that we have good news soon, inshallah.
Thank you. And one more question is how you connect your business with the education, with higher education, for example, how you engage your community and the impact your community.
Yes, thank you. We are a national center and as NGO working, so we are focusing on our national Kuwaitis here in Kuwait. So we are just focusing in the youth sector from 16 to 35 years old. That's our main focusing area. And now we would like to see ourselves as a catalyst for the society. We like to trigger their idea and to trigger them by this kind of program, otherwise in ideation or acceleration.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Dr. Hanadi, can we see if we have some questions from the
No, we don't have a question from outside. Maybe Professor Postler, Professor Michael can contribute on the sessions. We don't have a Q&A in our conference, while our conference is supported by Hoover platform. Hoover platform, it's a platform with AI connecting all over the world together, the attendee with the speakers. Okay, not only using the chat box here, no, they can connect and ask and discuss and introduce and doing networking. Based on that, I declined the Q&A, but we will make an open discussion between the speaker together in the same session. Professor Mike, if you have any contribution, specifically in the previous session, your vice president discussing about their thoughts about the futures for the innovation and AI and technology using in the educations.
Yeah, so what I can say is it's still up in the air a lot as to how AI is used. I was at a conference last week in the US, and one of the professors presented a paper that said he uses AI to do the literature search when he's writing articles. Now, you have to look at everything that AI says because some of them are not accurate. But I was just thinking how much time that can save when someone is writing an article. I remember, 25, 30 years ago when I was going for my PhD, in order to find some articles, there was a book published every quarter that had all the articles that could be of interest to me in what I was doing in economics. I'd have to spend hours going through there to try to find an article that made sense. And then I would have to go to the library to see whether our library had that article. And then if it didn't, I would have to go to University of Pennsylvania's library, which is nearby, and they pretty much had everything. But the point is, to get one or two references, I could end up spending a week in trying to do that. Using artificial intelligence for literature search, it comes back, AI comes back with a list of possible articles that could be relevant. And then we don't have to go to libraries anymore. I just go online and pull copies of the articles and see what's relevant. So AI will consider all of the areas where it's going to save everybody a lot of time, but here's one I found somewhat unique in that it'll help professors when trying to come up with references for articles. Dr. Palladino also mentioned that we're in kind of a learning phase to try to determine where AI will be beneficial and where it may actually hurt students. A lot of times I give problems to my students. Some I give as homework and they come back, and I often wonder, are they actually doing the problems or are they just copying it, putting into it in AI and see what kind of an answer comes up? If it's used for that, it really is going to hurt the students because the problems I assign for a purpose. And students are supposed to, when they solve the problem, go through the learning experience and try to figure out exactly what the answer is supposed to be. If AI is just spitting out the answers for them, that's going to be an area where we're going to have some concern. I also, I noticed when I give even case studies, and there's certain areas that have to be covered, I noticed 2 or 3 or 4 of the papers have answers that are very, very similarly worded. So I'm wondering whether they got that from AI and everybody went to the same place and they come up with some solution. So I think AI, and some of the speakers have talked about this, I think AI will be a very valuable tool in the future. It will make every worker, every student more productive. And when you're making people more productive, that's a very good thing. It allows your economy to grow. It allows you to keep some problems down, like inflation. So AI ultimately will be very productive. Now, how we rein in on it to make sure that it's all positive outcomes rather than some negative outcomes, I think, as Dr. Palladino pointed out, I think we're still a ways away from trying to figure that out. We're going through a learning curve here. You know, 2 years ago, the AI we had back then is much different than we have today. And I would venture to say 2 years into the future, we're going to see AI much more sophisticated. I was writing a paper the other day, and I needed to know the GDP growth rate by quarter for the US for the last 5 years. So I just asked the AI, and within seconds it came back with all of the data. Now, it didn't cite a source, which got me a little bit nervous. So I tried checking a few of them, and they were accurate. So instead of me spending a whole lot of time coming up with the data that I need, AI can provide it. Again, somehow we're going to have to be able to determine whether the information AI is providing is indeed factual, or are there some problems with it?
I will contribute in Professor Mike. Great, thanks, Professor Mike, to make a comparison between before and after, specifically for the literature review and research. But put in your consideration, while the AI is emerging and extending, and also there are people from the other side, from the education side, keep working and securing their situation specifically for the student, same as the program of the plagiarism. Before the plagiarism, there are people from different countries, they copying you and without mentioning your name, but the plagiarism, they catching all the people over the world. That even though the AI tool, it's really a powerful tool for the student, and also the professor having their own tool, a new tool, also supporting by AI, whether the student is copying from AI or they learning from AI. But at the end of the day, the AI is a very powerful tool, saving time and saving money, whether for introducing a new economy or introducing new sectors. As I mentioned today in my speech, the new sector is coming to our economy, and this is a value for all over the world from economic perspective and also from social perspective.
You know what's really good about this conference? I think this is the 5th year we've done this. What I find very fascinating and a good learning experience for me, there's not just academics here, but there are people from the real world who are actually applying this and doing things. And as an academic, you don't get to see as much of that as you'd really like to see. Look, I know I'm teaching my students and I'm hoping they're learning. I don't really get to see what they do years later. So here's a good example of how not just in academia artificial intelligence is being used, but how in the real world it's being used too. And it's being used to solve a lot of problems that previously were unsolvable.
I would like to draw the attention for the other audience. Professor Mike, it is my PhD advisor. We're starting more than 22 or 25 years. He is support me to get my PhD, and he is following all my career. And we continue together after post-PhD as a close friend working together. I'm really proud from you, Professor Mike, after all years working together in publications, in PhD, and now organizing this conference. And also my conference, we call it's a practitioner conference, not academic conference. It's mixed up between the practitioners to sharing their knowledge, experience, their thought, their vision. And it's the most important things based on my conference to be different than the other. And also I'm focusing about a very critical issue. It's the economic diversifications in all over the world. For our countries, Arab countries or GCC, we're focusing in the oil in our economy, but we need now to focusing in the smart programs such as innovation program, entrepreneurship program, and commercialization program, technology transfer, and AI program. Those programs, it's a great investment and a great added value for all the economy all over the world. I think we have still some time. What is your opinion, Sandy?
Oh, thank you, Dr. Hanari. And Dr. Basler is also my mentor. He is very good. He is very nice. He is always my best support since I joined our Stockton University. And when I saw this conference is about the innovation, I think, wow, I should join this conference. I can learn a lot. And regarding the innovation in the higher education, I think it's also super important to incorporate innovation in our finance education, because, for example, the student, like the engagement is very important. So that's why we try to bring the knowledge, we try to bring the technology into our class when we teach our students. So that's the reason, for example, we will teach the students how to use those online databases, such as use the Young Finance or the US Treasury website to download the stock price, to download the bonds price, the bonds YouTube material, this information. So, and also we try to teach the students how to use those platform, how to use the Excel in financial modeling, how to calculate the new investment projects, net profit. Okay, so we try to provide these hands-on experience to our students. So in besides like bring the technology into our class, we when we teach the students in our classroom, we will also try to bring the case study. Dr. Basler just mentioned the case studies, and we try to bring the more recent events, real world finance problem into our class, into the class project for the students to work on. So this is also one type of the innovation I think we can bring into our class, into the higher education. For example, we can bring some case study to the students to discuss, hey, if you graduate from Stockton, are you considering to continue your graduate studies such as the MBA study? What is the benefit? The benefit will be like you will get a high salary from after you graduate from the MBA, and the cost will be your time cost as well as the tuition. So what will be the net benefit? So they can do this type of comparison. And also we regarding innovation, we try to bring these we joined this practitioner conference. Similarly, we will try to bring the industry leaders to our campus. So for our Stockton, for our School of Business, our dean invite those guest speakers, entrepreneurs to our campus to give some speech to the students, so the students can so for those entrepreneurs, they can share their experience with our students, and our students really benefit from this talk a lot. Besides that, I think another part of the innovation is that we continuously update our curriculum. We continuously try to use the more recent textbook, the more recent course materials for our education. So this is how we infuse the innovation in our curriculum and in our education. Yeah, this is just some kind of how we incorporate the innovation in our classroom, in our education. Thank you.
Any thought? It's Hamid there, or he leaving? It's Hamid there. Imra? I think it's Imra. It's leaving because he have another conference. Let's. What is Professor Mike? What is your thought or vision for the coming decade about the innovation, entrepreneurships, and AI?
Yeah. So
how we're shaping the future for the 21st century, specifically all the country working about the economic diversifications in their plan and in their vision.
So I'm extremely optimistic, really, for the future. Once all of this technology gets blended into the classroom and, more importantly, into the workplace, I think we're going to see some giant leaps and giant advancements in the way many things are done. I always find it interesting when I listen to both academics and practitioners from countries outside of the US. I'm always interested to find how it's working out in some of these other countries. I don't know if some cultural differences may exist that impact the way technology is implemented into the world. But recall, Hanadi and I, we went to a World Association for Sustainable Development conferences for years. And that group, the primary goal was to transfer knowledge from the developed countries to the less than developed countries. I think the same thing is going to occur here with AI, that look, the developed countries have figured out or are figuring out how to implement all this, but it really will be of huge help to the less than developed countries too. So if we can transfer some of that knowledge to those countries, I think it will help tremendously with their development. I mean, look, if you take a look at what's really the difference between a less than developed country and a developed country. I mean, there are a lot of differences, but primarily it's knowledge. The developed countries know how to do things that the less than developed countries don't know how to do yet. So I think it's very important that we're able to transfer knowledge so that those countries can develop and grow. And I think with the use of technology in general and artificial intelligence in particular, I think that will help with transferring this knowledge. So I see economies of the world continuing to grow and develop, and I think the less than developed countries too will be able to move up a little faster in their development, and that will end a lot of problems that are very basic, even food issues and quality of life issues. I think AI is going to be able to help with a lot of those things. So I'd like to see this spread all over the world. It looks like it'll be beneficial to virtually everybody in what they're doing. And I'm very optimistic about the advancements that world economies can make through the use of AI.
Great opinion. Did you have any opinion, Sandy, before we closing the session? Still, we have a few minutes to closing the session. We have 10 minutes more. First of all, Professor Mike, we're learning a lot from developed country, and the diversifications. Let's say my conference is focusing in economic diversification based on the SMART program. This is from the first day I published my initiative in 2020, and from this initiative we pop up this conference conference, and I make it 2 times per year, one for developing countries sharing their knowledge together in Arabic language, and one for developed and developing countries sharing their knowledge together and learning from each others. And for our countries, if it's less developed, or we call it developing country, we learning a lot from other countries. We seeing the outcomes, and we seeing the indicators in your countries is very high, and we keep attracting the good program to establish it in our country. Now you will see plenty of innovation centers. You will see plenty of entrepreneurs ecosystem and a program supporting the societies to graduate a lot of entrepreneurs. You will see many startups companies in our countries, and it's a good indicator mention that we learning from you, we establishing the program, and we getting the value, and our impact will becoming a high impact. Sometime when we checking the innovations indicator, you will see 1 or 2 from GCC countries, Gulf countries. It's taking the high ranking, let's say number 6 and number 7, and this has been they implement and invest a lot of money in their countries, and they working hard to attract all the most important things, can develop the new generation. And really, we learning a lot from each others, and we implementing several programs in our country. Sandy, if anything. Let me see who will next.
So I also strongly agree that we will benefit a lot from the AI, and in the meanwhile, I think always get some advice from your friends. For example, I always try to get some advice from Dr. Basler. For example, like he is. I think he is really a good model for the technology innovation, because when we try to talk about our curriculum, they think then he's talks about, hey, why we don't have a new class like the strategic financial management, those like the capstone course. So in this case, we can bring some like the new thinking, new different courses provide to our students to try to follow the trends of our finance field. So I think this is a very good idea. So that's why I think always try to communicate and talk with your friend and talk with your mentor. And also as an educator, I think we can also learn a lot from our students because they are the new generation. They are the future. So yeah, these are just my feeling.
Yeah. You know, Hanadi, for some demographic reasons and some other reasons in the US, and I would assume this is happening worldwide, college enrollments are tending to go down. And I think in the long run, that's going to be have a negative impact on how society progresses. Education, now I'm an educator, so obviously I'm biased, but education is very, very valuable, and it will take somebody or some country that isn't doing very well. If they get provided a lot of education, they'll be able to progress. And even the students, I tell my students that even when you graduate here, education should be a lifelong process. So I try to learn something new every day if I can. And with technology and AI the way it is, there's so much opportunity to learn more. In the US, we're having a problem that many students don't see the value of a college education. For whatever reason, it's now very expensive in the US, in most universities, to actually go to colleges. Now, the ones sponsored by the state are a little more reasonably priced. But there's an argument that student says, look, the average student graduates with a significant amount of debt. And the debt takes you 10 years to pay it off. The government tries to keep the payments as reasonable as possible, but it usually takes about 10 years to pay this off. And people are starting to wonder, well, I invested 4 years of my life, and there's an opportunity cost with that. I could have been working and earning money. And then when I graduate, I'm still in debt. And many students don't take degrees that are marketable in the real world. They have a lot of interests in a lot of things. I think that's wonderful. But if you're looking for something that you can market, there's certain degrees that are going to have very limited opportunities. So I think we have to educate the younger people about the value of higher education. And even though it's a little bit costly, we used to say education may be costly, but not having education turns out to be very costly. So we have to let students know of the value here, and colleges and universities have an obligation to come up with programs that fit the needs of the marketplace. Stockton University is a wonderful university. It was started originally as a liberal arts college, and it still has a lot of the liberal arts influence to it. On the good side, I think that's great. A business student with a good liberal arts background, I think, is wonderful. But some of the programs that concentrate on some of these liberal arts areas, that the students are going to have a very difficult time getting a job. So I think the universities have to work on that and make sure that the public in general understands the value of education.